So, despite what my sudden disappearance from the YouTube channel does imply, I'm not actually dead. Frankly, at this point, it's actually been so long that I'm not too sure where to start. As most of you know, this channel was supposed to be a way to keep everyone informed about what's cracking with me in the US of A. Unfortunately, there were a few obstacles that made it almost impossible to keep posting, especially over like the last couple of months. However, I am back, but I do make no promises about how long I will commit to this channel. So you may have to keep relying on my mom for information about like my survival. Oh, not that, didn't mean to. So yes, you may need to keep relying on my mom for information about my survival. But before I can start anything about 2022, I do need to catch up everyone about what happened last semester, just so that everyone is on the same page. And hence, this video. Yay! So, as most of you probably already know, my initial living experience / roommate situation it didn't start good at all. My roommate and I didn't really get along too well, and eventually it all came to a head when she sent me a series of unpleasant text messages. I then decided that I wasn't willing to continue to feel uncomfortable in like the only place that I could call home, the dorm that I was currently living. So I scheduled a meeting with my resident assistant in order to like try, remedy the situation, see what we could do about it, what were the steps to take to either get a new roommate or try work things out with this one. I did have a meeting and the meeting went well. But unfortunately, Hurricane Ida happened, and then the whole thing was put on hold until I returned to campus, which was about almost a month later. A week after returning to campus, my ex-roommate and I were called into a meeting with housing, where it was then decided that we'd both be put in different dorms, in new rooms with obviously new roommates and in new buildings. So now, my new roommate's name is Jeremy, and I was initially terrified to meet him, I'm not even gonna lie. But I had my hopes up, I was excited. And when I did meet him, well, long story not made any shorter, Jeremy and I get along fantastically. He is literally everything and more that I could have asked into a roommate. Like, we get along really well, he's fantastic to be around. And I'm just so grateful I've met him and I've been able to like dorm with him for half of the last semester and this now next semester and the semesters coming. So although my initial roommate situation was wildly unpleasant, my entire American experience definitely got better when I moved into my new room with Jeremy. The Wednesday before the hurricane hit, I went around asking people like what hurricanes were like and like how worried I should be, because like South Africa, no natural disasters, well, relatively so. Anyway, everyone I had asked said Hurricane Ida was probably going to be like a sprinkle of rain, a dash of wind, but no. My soul, does Louisiana really know how to welcome foreigners who come from countries without or little natural disasters? Like, Hurricane Ida turned out to be a Category 4 hurricane that was so destructive, my university had to stay closed for a little over a month to do repairs, just trying to recover from the hurricane. So that was just a nice surprise. I enjoyed that thoroughly. Like, it was just fantastic. That same Wednesday before the hurricane hit, I was lucky enough to have met Casey. She's an amazing human being. And basically what she did was she offered to let me stay with their family during the hurricane. They did only expect me to stay for a few days, but that quickly turned into a week when they, realized that the hurricane was as severe as it was. I did feel horrible because they were expecting a few days, and then it became a few weeks. So I did feel like I was imposing and overstaying my welcome, but I was stuck, so I had no other place to go, and I had to just deal with it. Luckily, Casey's family and Casey were beyond amazing people, and they really welcomed me into their family with open arms, and I don't think I would have gone through the hurricane as well as I did without them, and I will forever be grateful to that family for allowing me to stay with them, and obviously being so welcoming and just so helpful and understanding. So I was able to return to campus about a little bit over a month later, and trying to catch up all the classes. Oh my gosh, it was hectic because we had just been pushed. The whole schedule had to be squished because a month was gone, a whole month was just by. So it was about this time returning to campus where I'd completely given up on the YouTube channel, because during the hurricane I wasn't able to post due to lack of internet and obviously power in some cases. And then after the hurricane, I didn't have the time to write, record, edit, post videos, so I did have to put it on pause because of that. And I just fell so behind that I couldn't catch up until now. So, oops. Living on campus is definitely an experience. I don't know what else to tell you. It's crazy. The food is either edible or will give you gittergat. There's no in between. People are always awake, whether it's 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. If you're walking around, you're walking into someone. The elevators either smell like canes, weed, or both. Socks, if you wash them in the washing machines, will never return. Just never return. I am out of socks. Crocs here are an acceptable form of footwear. I remember getting bullied for Crocs in South Africa, so that was wow. Monster energy drinks count as meals. People walk around no, I'm not hungry, I had a Monster. And I'm my guys, the food. The shower water is only ever hot at noon specifically. It's cold before then, cold after then. I can't recall going to bed before 1 a.m. at all. Just no. And so on and so forth. It's campus living. What can you expect? Some of my favorite moments include meeting my friends Steele and Brandon, getting Starbucks after every English with my friend Trey, going to a drag show the night before a bio exam, going to Ponchatoula at 2 a.m. in my pajamas to see this giant strawberry and the Ponchatoula alligator. It's Louisiana, apparently that's a thing. Butt boarding with random strangers in the parking lot at 1 a.m. Going to 13th Gate, which was a haunted house. Haunted house. That was insane. I loved that. It was terrifying. Wanted to cry the whole time. Was convinced at one point I was going to pee my pants out of fear. Did not. It was really fun. Stealing pumpkins over the Halloween period from the cafeteria was lots of fun. Skipping class to try beignets for the first time, and then getting to see Covington. There's just one Covington. Getting to see Covington. Beignets are literally my favorite thing ever. I love them. I will eat 3 hands down. But do not eat beignets in anything other than white, because that dust gets everywhere. Up your nose, in your ears, on your shirt, on your pants. It's just, if you eat a beignet, it shows. It definitely shows. And then obviously seeing the Christmas lights. The list goes on. I can't remember right now, and I can't mention everything for the sake of time. My videos do have the tendency to become feature-length films, and there are a few things I can't mention because I don't want to be deported. So that's the list for now. I'm gonna leave it at that. It was lots of fun. Campus is wild. So for those of you who are wondering whether or not I passed with all the antics I got up to, fear not. If there is one thing I am good at, it is academics. So last semester I took the following subjects. What did I take? So last semester I took the following subjects: English, critical reading and writing, college algebra, freshman success, which is basically a glorified LO, introduction to psychology, introduction to biology, and then biology lab. Now, to answer the $1,000,000 questions, did Kelly pass? I hope I can insert a drum roll at this point in my editing career. I did! I passed with a GPA of 4.0, which is fantastic, by the way. For all the South Africans who don't really know what that means, because same, I was like, great, what does that mean? I basically got 90% and above for every subject, which means I literally couldn't have got a higher GPA. Not to brag, but I'm definitely bragging. Like, that's fantastic. I was like, I'm a genius. It is what it is. I am hoping to maintain a 4.0 for next semester, which is now this semester. However, I am taking a lot of courses that I'm really unsure about. But nevertheless, I'm excited for the spring 2022 semester. The courses I'm taking for next semester, or this semester, I keep thinking next semester, but I've started it. The courses I've taken for this semester, spring 2022, include basic ceramics, introduction to public speaking, introduction to chemistry, chemistry lab, macroeconomics, and then world history. Yes, world history, civilizations, something like that. World civilizations history. It's a history class about world civilizations. I took a whole, I took a large variety of really different subjects just so that I can explore a few career options. They do count for core credits because right now my major is undecided, so I am trying to diversify my course experience, if that makes sense, in hopes that I can narrow down what I would like a degree in. So essentially the spring semester is kind of like a semester for exploration. I'm really looking forward to it. I will do an update on that sometime after I've actually experienced the classes and not just have done introductions like I did the past 2 days. So I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot harder, but I would like the challenge. It does seem like it's going to be fun. The winter break, right? So in order to stay in this room, the one I'm now with Jeremy, and not be moved back to my previous hall, which would have been my, third room swap for the full semester, I had to guarantee housing that they wouldn't have to house me for the winter break or accommodate me over the winter break, basically. This was because the hall I'm in now is closed over the winter semester, so I wouldn't be able to live here. And they didn't want me to play musical beds, basically. So I had two options. I could either fly home back to South Africa over the winter break, or I could go around asking literally every friend if they were willing to house me. The first option was almost immediately ex-nayed after Biden posed the travel ban on South Africa due to COVID. So I was forced to go around asking all my friends. Eventually it was decided that I would stay with Steele and Brandon over the winter break at Steele's house. Steele lives in what I can only describe as the most Scooby-Doo looking town I have ever seen. It looks like copy and paste from the Scooby-Doos I've ever watched. The break was about a month long, and I basically spent it sleeping, coloring in, watching movies, going to the town park that was nearby, going to a farmer's market, and playing video games. So what you can expect from a college student. We also did spend a day by a nearby lakefront where we sort of fished, not really, and mostly just walked around the neighborhood. I spent the third week with my friend Lydia at her house, where we watched movies, built puzzles. She took me to Louisiana Hall. I got to get beignets again. It was at a little coffee house near her house, and they had fantastic toasties, which I loved, but the beignets. And then we also made milk tart. Now that was an experience for notes. We spent in summary, the milk tart experience, what should have taken us 2 hours took us more than 6. We spent most of the time converting measurements and doubting whether we were doing it right, because Lydia's never made milk tart, and I I've never made milk tart. Lydia's never even seen milk tart, and I was no help. So after about like what 6 hours and 2 phone calls to my mom, we had 3 successful-ish milk tarts. One of them which Lydia and her family ate, another one which I took back to Steele's house for us to eat, and then one that's currently frozen in my dorm that I will be eating with my friends on campus. So it was pretty successful. The Americans loved it. Their only complaint was that it wasn't sweet enough. But I think that's just because here in America, their food is either way too sweet and sugary, way too salty, or covered in grease. You don't actually taste anything else but like sugar, salt, or grease. So that's why I personally think, they thought it was too not sweet enough. My opinion was that I made the crust too thick, but I now know for next time to like flatten it a bit more because it rises a bit in the oven when I make milk tart. But that was really fun, and Lydia says I can come back to her house and make more desserts, so I think Milford pudding should be next because I just missed that, but I don't know how to make custard, and they don't have Ultramel? I think it's called Ultramel. They don't have Ultramel here. Ultramel. I forgot what it's called. The custard in the box. They don't have the custard in the box here, and I would like the custard in the box to pour over it, or I have to make custard without the powder part, because I think in South Africa we buy the powdered part and then make it kind of like how you make cake if you buy box cake, but they don't have that because they don't drink custard like how we have custard. So I'd have to make it from scratch, which I think will be harder than making the Milford pudding itself, but I'll figure it out. I am smart. It's cool. I got it. In summary, the fall semester was definitely not at all what I expected it to be, but I did indeed survive it. It was kind of like touch and go every now and then, but I got through it. And now that this video has everyone caught up with what's been cracking with me in the US of A, we can officially return to our not so regular, kind of unscheduled programming. See you guys later on this year.